What's up, family? It's your girl, Hayley Delaine, and today we are back for an all-new Vibes, and I'm super excited about today's guest. He inspires me daily, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. Please welcome Mr. Charlie Rocket. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I'm really excited about this interview. I think I've had the most questions for you than I've had for any other interview, so let's jump right in. I've done a bunch of research and know your story, but for those of them out there who don't know your story, can you kind of give us the background of how you started in the music business and how you got to be the influencer you are today?
Yeah, so before, winning Grammys, managing 2 Chainz and all the world tours, I come from Atlanta, Georgia, just a kid who had a dream.
Yep.
I wanted to be an athlete. But since I couldn't be an athlete because I was always overweight my whole life, I buried my dream and I wanted to get into the music business. I went to my mom and I said, I'm gonna manage rappers. She said, what do you know about managing rappers? I said, nothing, but I'm gonna figure it out because that's where it's at.
Love it.
So I went to the streets of Atlanta and I found this group called Travis Porter. They were living in their mom's house and I was living in my mom's house. And I would drive from every radio station, from Jackson, Mississippi to Washington, D.C. And we took 3 records, top 20 in the country without a record deal.
Jeez, that is real. For those of you who don't know in the music business, that is a real accomplishment.
And that got us to the point where we were going to build out our management company, and that's when we discovered this guy by the name of Titty Boy. And for the world who doesn't know who Titty Boy is, that's 2 Chainz' name before he was 2 Chainz.
Amazing.
So with being in the music industry, we did well, but it was a trap. It was a trap for me. Stress of business, being an entrepreneur, led to food, and success and celebration also led to food. So I was trapped. And the bigger my business got, the bigger I got. I got over 305 pounds and I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I asked myself, I said, what's my truth? Because when you're broken, all you have left is your truth.
Right.
And the truth was, I wasn't chasing my dream. I buried my dream. I was doing something in this world that I was gifted at, but it's not my purpose. So I walked away from the music industry completely to chase my dream of becoming an athlete. And when I went to tell 2 Chainz and my business partners, I said, well, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna be an athlete. They're like, what does that mean?
Right.
And 3 weeks ago when the Colin Kaepernick Nike ad came out, 2 Chainz called me and said, I get it. I see what you mean now.
Wow.
Because I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with Nike and I biked across America this year. I did an Ironman, I've done 4 marathons, and now I'm in ad campaigns and working with Nike on creatives. And I'm what I believe is going to be the first common man athlete for the world.
So amazing. So you mentioned the Nike ad. Tell us a little bit about that, because you basically just made a video on your own and was like, hey, I'm going to contact Nike. So what was that process? What made you do it first? And then how was that when Nike actually responded back to you?
I believed I could be a Nike athlete. Now it makes no sense. Just a regular, guy who doesn't play any sport could be a Nike athlete or a big Nike athlete. But I said, in order for Nike to understand me, I have to show them what I mean. I created this campaign called My Story Isn't Over Yet. And there's a fan-made Nike commercial where on the end of it I said, insert Nike logo here. Yeah. And I just wanted to tell my life story through the vehicle of a Nike commercial. Yeah. And I put it out, and Nike called me 3 days later and said, we don't know who you are, but you have our campus in a frenzy. And they flew me up to Beaverton, and we've been working together ever since.
That's so beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about your tumor and your health as well. So when did you first find out that you had a tumor?
I was in high school.
You were in high school. So you were 16? Okay, 16. And at that time, how much did you weigh? Or were you like on the heavier side, or was it?
I was always overweight.
Okay.
My entire life. The brain tumor set me back a lot. Like,
really?
I missed, I think, 160 days of school that year. It was wrapped around my left eye. It was wrapped around the artery that goes into the brain and started corroding the top of my spinal cord. So it was a scary moment in my life,
Sure.
but was able to get it under control up until about 1.5 years ago, and it started getting out of control again, and I got very sick. I was actually at 2 Chainz' house, when I woke up one morning and the room just started spinning. And I said to myself, oh, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And I went up to get a pair of socks and I passed out. And before I even went to the doctor, you know, your gut just tells you like, okay, I know what I gotta do. And immediately I went vegan.
So how did you start making better decisions, right? Like I'm sure when you would go to a restaurant with friends or grocery shopping for yourself for the week, there was always temptation around, right, to grab the 50 things that we're not supposed to eat. How did you train yourself to make better choices?
I'll give you an example. I'll give you 2 examples. I could focus on what I can't have, and that's like scarcity mindset.
Yep.
Oh, all the things I can't have. Or I could focus on the abundance of what I can have. And what I can have is, instead of sweets, I can have my life being sweet. So instead of this dessert, which is sweet, I want taking my shirt off at the beach to be sweet. So I'm just like constantly focusing on how sweet I want life to be and all the things that are gonna come with it. And that's what ultimately was allowing me to kick my addiction. Because in addiction, you feel like, oh, I can't have this, I can't have this, I can't have this. Or when you're going to go into a diet, I can't have this.
Right.
So I had to change my mind to what is all the things I can have. Like, I'd love to sit on one of these boats and suntan with my friends and not feel insecure about taking a picture.
Right.
Like, I can have that.
Yep.
So I'm focusing on that instead of
What you can't have.
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. That's what you all want, you know, to be able to have that perspective, I think is so huge. So, okay, so you get the information, you're now vegan, you're going on this new path. When did you do the Ironman? And talk to me about how you trained for that. Was Ironman first or did you run marathons before that?
I ran marathons before,
Okay.
and I actually gained weight through that process.
Okay.
It was a part of this whole binge eating to where
Yeah.
I would out eat. So when I did my first marathon, I was 240 pounds.
Okay.
When I did my last marathon, 7-8 months later, I was 270 pounds.
Got it.
So ran 3 marathons and gained over 30 pounds while running marathons.
Right, because you were just eating.
I was eating.
Got it.
I was out eating all the training. So I did the Ironman. I started training for the Ironman, and 10 months later, New Zealand, I was able to complete an Ironman. It took me 16 hours, 41 minutes.
Wow, that's huge.
For everybody, if you don't know what an Ironman is,
Yeah.
it's a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a full marathon, 26.2 miles all in one day.
Lord. That's awesome. So actually, I think it was like less than 24 hours ago, you posted a really, really vulnerable photo saying that you had gained like about 15 pounds. Talk to me about why you share those moments and what it feels like to share those moments. And do you ever get concerned about comments or the way that people are going to look at those posts?
So the reason why I share is because when I was in a bad place, there was nobody everybody was so perfect. And being perfect is aspirational.
Yeah.
Like, it's really aspirational seeing somebody who has the six-pack abs you want. But I realized that me being perfect never helped anybody. So if I could take people just through my journey without any motivation, then it's gonna change somebody's life. And there's things I go through every day, and we could sit here and talk about all these accolades and, oh, that's such a perfect guy. And in reality, it's like gaining the 15 pounds. I know why I gained the 15 pounds. I'm working too hard.
Right.
Like, it's bringing up this old version of myself, and it's something that I'm going through real life in my life, and maybe I could teach people what I learned through the process.
Totally agree. And I think that it's interesting that you say that you're starting to work too hard and you're going back to similar habits, which I think is something really, for people out there that are going through that, whether it's an addiction, a food addiction or a drug addiction, I think that's the hardest part, right? And so I wonder too, how do you guide yourself, because you are busy, things are happening, you're meeting with Will Smith and you got all these types of cool things going on with Nike. How do you control that?
I had a conversation with my business partners, and I said, in order for me to be the right person for the world, I need to be humble.
Right.
And I said to my business partners, I said, I really need to bury CEO Charlie. That was the old version of me. I have to bury him because he's great at what he does. He's a great businessman. He's not the best person he could be because he's worrying about having to make money, and in business, that's what business is, to make money so we could support our families. But I have to have faith and confidence that if I focus on helping people, the business is going to be great.
Speaking of helping people, you just had a very, very cool thing happen over the summer. Talk to me a little bit about why you biked across the U.S. and how you helped 1 million people.
So when I did the Ironman, I was like, that's great, but that was about me.
Right.
What's my next journey going to be where I can go out and touch as many people as possible? And I said, let's do something crazy. Let's bike across America.
Jeez.
So I asked Scott if he would come with me.
Uh-huh.
And he walked away from his business.
Whoa.
To come.
It's a real friend. We all need friends like Scott. Shout out to Scott.
He left his business, and we called it the Dream Machine Tour.
Yep.
And we had this big bus.
Huge bus.
Where people would write their dreams all over it. Because I wanted it to be about reminding people about their dreams. As I'm chasing my dream, I just want to remind people that there was a dream that you had at some point in your life, probably before society told you what was realistic.
Yep.
And when that bus would pull up, I would see 60-year-old men turn into little kids as they're thinking about their dream.
Wow.
And it was amazing. We helped all sorts of people. Teachers with breast cancer paid off a mortgage and bought her a car. This girl, Siona, she was going off to college. She didn't have any transportation. Bought her a car. This girl, she had an amputated leg. We bought her a prosthetic so she could run in, and we went on a run with her. I gathered 150 people. We gave away 305 pairs of shoes and off-whites in Atlanta, and just did all sorts of things to give back.
You've accomplished so many things in your short life already, from your career to the things that you're doing with helping people, your life, so much. What is left to still accomplish for Charlie?
My crazy dream is this vision, kind of like a paradigm shift, where I believe a common man can be as much as a superstar athlete for the world as a LeBron James. And I want to be top 5 athletes in the world. And I know it sounds crazy and I can't win a Super Bowl or NBA title, so how's that possible? It's never been done before. But I believe that when there is a common man athlete, that's the person who's going to actually get somebody to get off the couch. Because when I look at a LeBron or some perfect athlete, I actually don't believe I can ever do that.
Right.
But if I had somebody who was as influential as LeBron or Serena, that was like me, then I'll be like, wow, I can do this. Like, let me go put on some running shoes, or let me go get on my bike, or let me go, you know, like another example. The NBA asked me to play in the Celebrity All-Star Game.
Yes, I heard about this.
So I'm gonna take everybody on a journey of my attempt to win MVP. And this is not a basketball player per se, you know, like I'm just a common
He's
man.
got a sweet shot though, guys. Let's not let him fool you.
But I want to take everybody on a journey as a common man, waking up at 3:30 in the morning, you know, doing my suicide drills and my basketball drills to attempt to win MVP of the Celebrity All-Star Game.
I believe.
So I want to be top 5 in the world, and I believe that's what will change people's lives. For people to see that, wow, there's a man who is proving that everything is possible.
Yep.
And just everything has to be about helping people at the end of the day. There's 2 ways we're going to help people. We're going to, 1, help people by going on a journey with them and taking them on a journey, and 2, actually physically giving back and incorporating sports and inspiration, because in this country, 7 out of 10 of us are overweight or obese. Like, I polled my audience, and they're like younger, average age of 24. And I polled them, I said, how many of you guys need to lose between 20 and 30 pounds? 70%.
Whoa.
if my audience was 50 years old, would it be 100%?
Wow.
And I just can't believe those numbers, but 70% of this country needs hope because it sucks being overweight.
Yeah.
Like the self-love, like as much as we might want to bury it or talk about it, it's like not liking the way you look, it's tough.
And I think what's so interesting about that too, right, is like even when you're not overweight, it's hard to have self-love, right? And if you don't have that struggle, there's so many other struggles. And so I think that finding those similarities with people too, you know, one person can be overweight, one person can be trying to find self-love in another way. And I think that that's so important too, because we can all help each other. And the positivity of me supporting you and you supporting me and whatever that is for me, I think is so helpful to really cause change. And I think that's really cool. And you touched on social and polling your followers. What has the power of social been like for you as you're telling this story, and you've gained all these followers so fast? Talk to us a little bit about how social has played a role in your journey.
I mean, it's everything. It's everything. I feel like there's phase one of marketing with social media is coming to an end. Because when I look at the biggest things in the world, I wanted to study why. And I say, okay, what's the #1 superhero franchise in the world? And when I looked up the numbers, it's Spider-Man.
Oh, interesting.
Why does Spider-Man make more money than any other superhero franchise? And I thought about it. He's the only one without a chiseled chin or muscles or... He's just
puts the whole suit on, yeah.
He's just a regular kid.
Yeah.
He's the only superhero that's actually just like us, Peter Parker. And then I thought about Steve Jobs was the first CEO who dressed just like my dad would.
Right.
He didn't have a suit on. So he was just like us. He wasn't trying to be superior. He was trying to be normal. And I call this the I am you theory. And all the Spider-Man is I am you. Steve Jobs is I am you. But does it hold true for a product? And when he had his hit breakout product, the iPod, the iPhone, it was literally us, to where on social media, we're trying to be so different than everybody. You should follow me because I'm so much different than you. To where people's bios will be like, 3 times New York Times bestselling entrepreneur. I'm not like you, I'm not like you, I'm not like you. This is why you should follow me. Right. But the biggest things in the world are literally, I'm like you, I'm like you, I'm like you, I'm like you, follow me. Yep. So I believe what social media 1.0 is, I'm so much different than you. Social media 2.0 is, yes, I'm different, but I'm actually just like you. And that's where I believe things where they'll go.
Killed it, Charlie. I don't think I've ever heard anyone break down social in a better way, and I think that you're spot on, and I think that that's why influencers work to begin with, right? A specific group that are as vulnerable as you online, because we're able to really connect, and I think admire the vulnerability that you have to be able to put it on the internet, right? Because a lot of us aren't willing to do that. I just think that that is amazing breakdown of how you see that. I think that that's really powerful. So last fun question for you. How'd you get Rocket? I gotta know. How did Charlie Rocket, the Rocket Gang, all come together?
So a rocket, people think it's fast.
That was my guess.
Rockets don't start off fast. Rockets start off very, very slow. Now up there is outer space. You know how far it is to outer space?
Nope, but I feel like you're gonna tell me.
Only 62 miles.
Oh, that's not far. You bike more than that in a day.
Exactly. But when a rocket takes off, it uses up more fuel in the first mile than it does the whole rest of the trip combined. And I felt like I was a rocket. Yes, I will be fast. But right now, I'm slow. And that's okay. Because rockets start off slow. And if they just push, they'll get really, really fast. So I believe we're all rockets when we're starting our businesses. okay at the beginning. I'm a rocket. It's supposed to be slow. But eventually, when it gets to mile 62, it gets easy.
I love it. Well, I was going to ask for a piece of advice, but I think that he just gave it to us, you guys, through the whole interview. Charlie, thank you on behalf of all of us for what you're doing, and of course for coming and sitting down and talking to me, but I think thank you from all the people that follow you and are going to continue to follow you, because I think that you really have the power to change a lot of people's lives, and thank you for sharing it with our Trending All Day viewers. This was so dope to sit and hang out with you, and I hope that we can come see you when you play the game, come see you when you run the Boston Marathon, and I look forward to continuing to follow your journey. Can you tell everybody where they can follow you?
Instagram, that's my favorite place. At Charlie on Instagram.
How'd you get that too? Was that hard work?
No, it was living in your purpose.
Wow.
I woke up one day and one of the employees from Instagram who's been following me said, we've been holding on to this name and nobody has it, and what you're doing, helping people, we want to give it to you. So it was just a week before, I was talking to my friend. I said, you know what, if I were ever to run for president one day, I want to run on a first name basis. I don't want to say Charlie Jabaley, I just want to say Charlie. And then a week later, Instagram gives me
Wow.
Charlie.
Well, can you run for president? Because I think we need you in office. I think everyone would agree with that. Charlie, thank you so much. I know you got marathons to run and bikes to hop on, so I'll let you get out of here. But guys, be sure to go follow at Charlie on Instagram. Check out his website as well. We will link in the description below. You guys aren't gonna wanna miss it. There's tons of cool content there and more Nike ads coming out. So you guys will definitely wanna be all up to date on that. That is a wrap from us here. I have no words. Charlie had them all. So on that note, you guys, thanks for joining us. I'm your girl, Hayley Delaine. This is Charlie Rocket, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.